Park Board. And if we would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. You want to lead us, Elizabeth? Go ahead.
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Instances, anybody know besides you?
Probably sent that in my Friday email.
Yes.
And in your Friday email?
My Friday
Oh, I did
email.
see one that she was gonna be gone for a new baby.
Right,
Congratulations.
for the, this
Okay.
last, I sent it yesterday.
Okay, very good. So if we could. All in favor? Oppose, nobody. And then also we have another. Now she has an unexcused absence. Second,
I second.
and it's approved. Oh, well, we better vote then.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry, I'll get this down. So all in favor? Opposed? Okay, so that those motions have been approved and carried. Okay. Sorry, I have to write or I will forget. Okay. All right, then the next is the call for other business items. Does anybody have anything?
I have something I want to mention is the big community meeting at some point.
Excellent.
Don't have to-
I have that on also as another business meeting that we should talk about because we do want to talk about that. Yes, and then,
And I just want to talk briefly about that, the grant application for the park,
okay,
and then we will be meeting there tomorrow.
good. Okay, we'll put that on. We'll talk about that one. Okay, and then also I would like to talk to Tim, have Tim give us an update on the park and some trees specifically. Just, I've had a couple people ask some questions about the gates being closed. And then also, we want to talk about training, the required training for the council, for the board members, okay? So first of all, before we move on to those business items, then we go to the approval of the consent agenda, which is the meeting minutes. Meetings, those minutes.
I motion to approve the meeting.
And do I hear a second?
I said,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. We're getting good at this. Okay, let's go for board reports then. Do you have anything you wanted to report in particular?
just I'm gonna talk about.
About the meeting, okay. Also, it's kind of your board report, but you also sent a calendar that you wanted us to all, for the year, that you wanted us all to look at. And so I wanted to encourage the other board members to take a look at that. And if you have any questions or comments, please get in touch with Mike and make sure he gets that up to date, okay? Or if we see anything else, okay. Do you have a board report? Anything new?
No.
Okay, that's fine. I don't have anything new either. No. Okay, we have no public hearing today. So we're gonna start with some. Let's start with the community meeting, because that's a new item, and that's a new business. So Mike,
Okay.
why don't we start with that?
Okay, well, this is the 13th year that we've done this, and it started with Vision Toledo, and we had a meeting many years ago, that was organized by some other people who wanted Toledo to be vibrant and growing and stay alive and all the rest of that. And once they all kind of left, and Di and I looked at each other, my wife and I looked at each other and said, well, we should keep that thing going, because that's a good idea. It's a good thing to have a community gathering. And since we've done this so many times, every time we get people from other towns saying, this is great, we should do this in our town too. Yeah, well, it takes somebody to grab the bull by the horns and make it happen, and that happens to be us, so that's why it's happening. We have a meeting that takes about an hour and a half-ish. It's gonna be on March the 18th at the Toledo High School Commons, and we'll start at 6:30 like we did last year. And we'll welcome everybody, and then I've asked Mayor Sherry to contact the various senators and representatives and commissioners and anybody else that she thinks would be officials of other entities. And then I contact about 20 or so other people that are people in the community that have different projects that they are working on. Things like, not just that, but also like the planning commission, you on the park board, and everyone gets like 3 minutes to speak and say what's happening, what's you got planned for 2025. And we also have the library and the community garden and the Lions Club and kids fishing derby and there's all kinds of things there. And everybody will give their little talk so that people can take notes and become informed. And then when we're finished with the meeting, we open it up to when we're finished with that phase of the meeting, then we open it up to public announcements from anybody who wants to say anything. Usually that involves what do they do? Mount St. Helens Institute, for example,
yeah.
or the Parks Department, and also businesses. Businesses, I will probably say something about our new gallery opening up again.
So essentially, it's a, from what last year, I think most of you have been more than I have, but for me, the last year was the first time I went. And it was like Mike said, it was a really nice collaboration of all these different groups that have just about anything to do with the city of Toledo or with development or life in this area. So it was an interesting sharing. So if you haven't been, it's good to go. And so what from us, from the board, from the Parks Board, last year you had somebody from the Parks Board come and speak. You want that again?
Yeah, and that would be you.
Okay. I'm just gonna pass it on.
And just say, probably the thing you would mention would be the Esther Morty walk.
Okay.
And then stuff that's happening down at the park and all around.
Okay.
Just so people know.
Okay.
And if there's any kind of handout to give, we can provide that so that people come from all over there, they can take something with them if that is appropriate. And so
Okay.
it's pretty simple, straightforward, but the biggest part of it is doing it.
Yeah.
And we continue to do it, so it continues to get done.
Okay. I will commit to being there. I may reach out to a couple of you for maybe a talking point or two about the park or your grants.
We
Okay.
should probably
To add.
either make, if we have a comp plan kind of thrown together, maybe make that available on the tables outside for people that can.
I don't,
But
I'm gonna say no. And not, we could get it online, maybe. I don't know that printing it all, because it's pretty big. It's also not approved yet. It's really in its draft form, and I doubt that it will be approved by then. So I would hesitate to publish anything for the city or put it out unless it's
Maybe just say
approved.
it's your-
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, that will be one of the talking points, because when I spoke last year, we did a survey. We did this big survey, and that information is what we built the comp plan from. So we're using that information, the input from, that's a big part of building your comp plan, is having your citizenry involved and getting input from everybody around. So we did that and we use that. And so we'll definitely want to follow up on that this year.
Is there anything we want to have the docs for this year?
I don't see any reason for it this year.
Can't
'Cause
think
we-
of anything either.
No,
there's not
we
much
pretty
point
much
having
did
a
that.
Survey every year. 'Cause
No.
it's like
No.
everything-
Really only when you need to do the
About
plan.
every
Yeah,
4 or 5 years.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, people, and Julie, that's true. Even though I'm the president of the Historical Society, you're
That's
the
a given.
speaker.
Yeah.
I'm the MC, so.
Right.
Don't want to be up there forever.
Well,
Yeah.
well, what my thought on it is I want to create the realization for people that it's more than just a couple of people that are doing everything. That we have a whole list of people, and there may be lapovers, you know, where people are on different groups and stuff, but that, you know, I have 20 different individuals that are just planned to come. And some people say, oh, it's always the same 10 people. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not always the same 10. And,
It changes as people come and go, probably,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay, very good. Any other questions, comments on the community meeting? Okay, I'm gonna skip then to the other was training, just this is for the board members. I just want to remind you to check your email once or twice a week, if you would, your city email, and do the training, what's in there. It has to be done by the 28th of February, so. And they're about an hour long. They're not horrible. Some things are kind of entertaining, aren't they? So if you have any questions, please reach out to Rachel. There's an email explaining all about it in there. Okay. Next then, Tim, so the park, the trees, can you give us an update on trees, the park trees? There was a lot of damage during that big storm? And that's why the gates have been closed?
Yes, ma'am. I think you can kind of look back, we
Mhm.
did have a pretty substantial storm.
Yep.
This is our third season coming in,
Mhm.
and I think this is probably the worst that we've had in 3 years.
Yeah,
The rest of them have all been pretty easy to either pick up or clean up or something, but this year's storm was a little different. I'm not quite sure if it was when they came in the spring and did some limbing or something that might have weakened a lot of them. I'm not 100% sure on it. But we lost probably about four, maybe 5 of the larger trees. The reason why we kept the park closed is twofold. One is that we knew cleanup was pretty extensive, especially within larger trees that had come down, especially near the horseshoe pit. The second is that we had to look at liability because kids are kids and they're gonna be everywhere and we're gonna run into it, but the down limbs and everything that we had extended out towards the road a little bit. That has a tendency to draw, like a magnet, people or kids to kind of see what's going on with that. And we felt at the time that I talked to the mayor and I went through and did a risk assessment on all of the campsites, plus the children's site, plus the horseshoe pits and everything. It was just felt to be better that it would be closed during this portion of winter. With that being said, we had another aha moment too, because I remember last year, we had lost our dump site. The dump site, because of the cold snap and the cold weather that had come through, we had blown a few pipes and we had to spend some money to have that fixed.
Mhm.
I reached out to Public Works today. And because we do have a cold snap we still have that ongoing. That still runs a risk that if we let our campers in, they have no way of dumping any of their tanks.
Right.
And
I know,
I think-
I think at the last meeting, we determined we were not gonna have that, we were gonna keep it off during the winter.
Correct,
Mhm.
in that way, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that we're the only dump station between we're in the middle between Chehalis and Castle Rock.
Mhm.
The big RV place down there, and I'm not 100% sure where that all sits at.
Okay.
So I did talk to them again this morning, and asked them their advice, what do you guys think? Yeah, we could probably have the park open. And we just continue to pick up the branches, which is good. They're being piled right now,
Mhm.
and I'm working through a process to be able to go through the loader and maybe pick them up to put them into a dump trailer. But again, we don't have any water for them to really utilize to flush with.
Right.
If they wanted to flush their tanks. And then, that was pretty much about it. Besides now, we've started our updates on the ladies' bathroom. It is temporarily closed right now because they're installing all the new bathroom stalls,
Mhm.
in them. They started that project, I believe it was yesterday. So it's all torn apart. And
Okay.
like that. So,
Okay.
as it sits right now, unless the board really wants me to push, to get it open.
Nope.
I'm thinking March may be the best bet. I don't know when our first long holiday is in March.
So you and Sherry came to that conclusion?
No, ma'am, I have not talked to Sherry yet. I've reached out to her. And I have not heard anything back from her. I asked for her input.
Okay, I think I just need to be proactive and contact that camper that has the February 20th reservation and refund his money.
Okay, I can't do any, I mean, I don't know what else
I
to
just
do.
need, yeah.
We
Yeah.
have a cold
The
snap.
longer we wait, the more
Yeah.
chances
Sure.
we'll be disappointed. So-
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
And we did, at one point, we did say we were gonna stay open. There was no reason to close,
Not at that
but
time.
not at that time, but
Right.
things have changed.
And one of the things.
So- Sorry, can we turn off the temporarily turn off the reservation system? No, okay.
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
There is a notice on the front of it saying that the park is currently closed.
Okay,
But clearly people aren't.
right. He figured he'd try.
Way to block it so
No.
that the Airbnb,
Okay,
that they're full.
okay.
Well, you can just put a date that says we'll be open on
That-
March the 1st.
But they
Doesn't
can
matter.
still make
They can
reservations.
still
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So one of the things I would also like to bring into light too is that, we looked at we're looking at the cost because we did blow up that pipe last year that took care of the dump station. That we do keep in mind that February is usually our coldest month.
Hmm.
It's been that way for the past 3 years or whatever, and we're always gonna run that risk of, having that fail.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's either we kind of make that decision on, whether we want to just use the month of February we're closed. For the cold weather snap that we usually get,
it could be a good
Or-
maintenance month, right?
maintenance month,
Mhm.
that, if we
Mhm.
have any, hopefully. The tree thing would be very small next year, but that's a whole different cat we need to talk about with those trees.
Okay.
They do need to get evaluated on what needs to come out and what needs
Yeah.
to be replanted.
I think you want to keep as many of those trees there because that's what gives that park its charm.
And I agree,
Yeah.
but at what hazard do we want to keep them?
We've talked about this a little bit before too, and you've mentioned bringing out an arborist. Has anybody ever come out to look at them?
No,
Okay,
ma'am,
okay.
because that's not a directive I've been given, to
Mhm.
go find somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Because there's a dollar amount that's usually, there's usually a dollar amount that goes with
Mhm.
that, so I've not had that opportunity.
I think we'll have to,
And
think
you
we'll
also
have to
gotta
look
be
into that.
careful,
Mhm.
which we found was the case with the kitchen. And we said, yeah, well, you need to get somebody here to look at it, and see if this kitchen is okay. And then they started saying, well, there's an earthquake, this thing could come down. And oh my God, and we're going, geez.
Mhm.
We just wanted to see if, you know, what
No,
it
it's crazy,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's why.
I think we have to definitely assess the risks though, and take steps to mitigate them the best we can, keeping in mind what's best for the community too. We have to kind of try to find balance, I think.
Right, and I totally understand that, that's why I didn't know if there was some kind of, replanting project that put in, so like as we take one, we gain two. Or maybe look at the different types of trees that we're gonna put in here. Cause I think we have cottonwoods and some other crazy,
Yeah,
not the sturdy
They're-
maples.
yeah.
Nothing of the sturdier trees, like those big firs, those things aren't really gonna go anywhere.
right.
You know, but I mean, that's just, there might be something for future planning, is that if we take one, we place two, and. Cause I understand, what the board is saying, those trees are important, especially our odd ones.
Yeah.
Those are greatly important
Yeah,
into having the property. But I also noticed that they went up 15-20 feet and they cut them off there, so the families could still come out and take pictures. And let the kids crawl through them like they've been doing over the last few years.
okay. All right. Mhm. So, okay, so I think from this discussion, I think obviously going forward, one thing we're gonna have to start looking at is the trees, the health of the trees, and what would be kind of a long-term, how are we gonna deal with them long-term? Short-term, let's get rid of it, we'll need to try to break any, get anything that's put a potential hazard right now taken care of, and then going forward, how do we replace, what's the best way to replace those trees that are failing? Because we do want to keep trees, but we can't keep ones that are failing, obviously.
I think that in the last 2 years that we've seen that limbing be done in the spring.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to increase that budget, maybe a little bit if we can. Due to the fact is, they've allotted $5,000 each time that the
Mhm.
limbers come out.
Mhm.
And from looking at it from a risk assessment point of view, there's still quite a few of those front end trees, the front edge trees that go along our frontage road. That still has some pretty dangerous limbs in there that have not even been addressed. And all it's gonna take is something to give way. I've got pictures for you guys to see whenever you want to, where they're buried. I got 14-foot poles that are buried 8.5 inches in the ground.
Mhm.
So, I mean, these are kind of dangerous. We gotta come look at them, and you can see them all limbed up there. So
Okay, we'll have to,
we need to
I'm
walk.
not sure the best way, because I think we need to have a professional give us some advice on the
I agree.
trees, right?
I agree.
But we also have to be careful, we don't have a lot of money either, especially
No.
if we have to do a lot of work. And then we have another thing we're gonna have to put some money out for. So, we should have some follow-up discussions.
Sure. Sure.
Do you know, can you get us like 3 different people that we could contact potentially about trees? Do you know people
I do not.
that I could reach out? Okay, the other thing, I think then I might need to reach out to MRSC, Small Works roster maybe, and see if they're tree people, do you think? Okay, so
Just don't get somebody that's too overly zealous.
Yeah, I get
I understand
it. I get it. Yeah. So I'll take that action item then to maybe work with Rachel about reaching out to and finding some contacts who we might be able to use to help us figure this out a little bit, to give us some direction.
So if the
Okay.
park is gonna be utilizing Small Works roster, it's gonna be a good idea for us to maybe go out and advertise to have people come in to put their names on it.
Yes.
The challenge,
That's all managed by MRSC.
Yes.
Pay MRSC to use
do we,
their. to
cause
use their
I ran
roster.
into challenges just trying to get locks for the doors. I gotta have, and nobody, I've had to go out and try to find 3 bidders.
Yeah.
To come out, so hopefully that would work out great.
There, this may have changed since I was doing this, but I can certainly work with MRSC and figure out how best to do it, because there was a way, I remember one instance where there weren't people on a regular roster to do what we needed. So we were able to send out just an email basically with our requirements to a number of people that we chose. And then we were able to get bids from them. So we didn't have to actually go off the roster. We could reach out to other people that serviced our area.
If you can't find sources in the roster, then you can go out on your own.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'll take that and work with Rachel. And then
And we have 2 local arborists that we can toss into the mix.
Excellent. Excellent, very good, thank you. So then the reason I wanted to bring this up was certainly not that I was worried about the park, it's just I have had a couple people mention to me that it's been closed for a while. And my response was that we had big storms, there was some damage to some of the trees, we wanted to assess the risk and then mitigate those risks. So I just want to make sure I was telling the truth. And that we are moving forward and everything's going okay.
There's basically three of us. So,
Yeah.
And
Understand,
Public Works has
Mhm.
their own rosters and priorities they have got to take
Yep.
care of. I work a full-time job, so.
Yep.
We just gotta we're kind of plugging away as we go.
yeah, the good thing is it is the off season and you don't have campers in there.
Well, it sounds like.
Oh, well,
You
we could, but
know,
yeah,
But I mean, yeah, during the winter, especially February would be great. I would agree to that because we don't have anything open. Our
okay,
waters are shut down, kitchens shut down,
okay,
dump stations shut down.
okay, good. We'll move forward with that then. Yes, Joe.
I grew some trees for
Okay.
the park specifically.
Oh.
You can see if you want them, and maybe we can do that, put them in arbors. They're small, but there's cedars, there's some maples, I think, in there. I don't know what all they are, to be honest with you, I have to check with that, but there's a good amount.
Oh, cool.
There's at least 23 cedars.
That's great.
That's
They're
beautiful.
small, but they'll
They
get
will
there
grow.
pretty quick.
Oh,
Thank you.
Well,
That's
my-
wonderful.
My husband's really great at that, and grew 2 feet in 1 year.
Whoa, excellent,
He's
excellent.
Slow growing.
Okay. That's on the list then, good. So then, any other discussion about the trees?
I was just thinking we could do them on Arbor's Day and get the kids from the
To
elementary
plant?
school to help plant.
That would be cool.
Again, community involvement.
Yes, uh-huh.
Mhm.
Are we allowed to volunteer our own time to clean up the park?
Yeah.
We go on there?
Mhm.
I
I
know
would
it-
definitely, if you, I just like you yourself and your family or something want to do it, I would definitely work with Tim though, so that he knows who's doing what. You don't want to do something that, yeah, he needs to oversee that, so,
Did let him know I can use a chainsaw.
okay,
Yeah,
well,
you did tell me that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think all our good cutting is over.
yeah.
Hard
So
step.
now it's just all manual labor trying to pick them over.
I have gloves. Strong gloves.
Great.
Oh.
My number before we.
Okay.
Okay, moving on then, Joe, you want to talk to us about the grant,
Okay,
the parks grant, right?
And we tried sometime before to, because as you said, the bad engineering reports that we had are concerning. And they did do, during Steve Dobosh's time as mayor, they did mitigate those in kind of imminent problems that they thought they had. And, but the overall thing is, it's been there for 58 years. It was all volunteer built. And at this point, we just need to really rehab it. Which will include footings and things like that.
Mhm.
It's gonna be difficult, I know, nobody wants to close that down starting now. Or whenever we get the grant funding, but we can't keep it putting off infrastructure. And
Right.
it needs to be done, so, it might. And I don't know, we thought we would have an appointment today so that we could actually tell you how long it would take. And what we were looking at financially. What I'm looking at is a grant from the 0.09 fund through the county for distressed areas that they receive funding from the state. They have raised the amount that you can request up to 250,000, and you can also get loans. We would be going for the grant. Grant is super simple, which is wonderful. This page has got 2 boxes. So, there's just a couple of questions that I need to ask to you. So it would be for upgrades to the park, specifically getting the equipment that we hoped for the kids area to get last year, and also to rehab that building. What I need to know is, because we're talking about economic development as our reason to do this, how many new houses are actually going in? I have heard wild ranges of how many.
So Cowlitz Meadows, I believe, is 93.
Okay,
And then the Jolma property, which is now owned by Cowlitz Meadows, last I heard, is. Well, there are no plans on paper, but they've talked about another 200. But then there's also multifamily dwellings in there as well.
hmm,
So the further out one, is still kind of up in the air, but
but we'll be talking at least 300 new
All-
houses then.
when all is said and done, it could be
Mhm.
upwards to.
Mhm.
And the new housing that's going in across from the park is how many units?
Seven. It's 2 duplexes and 5 single family.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are.
They're small lots.
Mhm.
But it's all one, like an apartment style?
Well, it's 2 duplexes, so
Okay,
that's two apartments, 4 apartments,
2 separate buildings.
2 separate
Mhm.
buildings,
Oh, okay.
2 duplexes and then 5 single family.
okay,
Yeah,
pretty impressive property.
Yeah. right, right.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think that, we'll put this in for,
The other, this is, we've probably, I'm sure we've spent the money already, but the other thing that we want to do is fix the stage too.
Yeah.
Rehab the stage there. So
This
I don't
would
know
not
if that would,
qualify
that
under
would
this.
qualify, okay?
no, it's not for this grant.
Just build
Okay.
over the top of it.
Yeah. That's what Sherry was saying.
Why go to all the trouble jackhammering it out of there, just leave it there, build it. Move it.
Just report. Would you report over this?
Put a Trex structure on it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just a rock. Yeah.
Another discussion.
Yeah.
But we are gonna meet with them tomorrow
Yes,
to see get an estimate for the building.
right,
For
just
the
a rough
kitchen.
idea so that I know what I'm asking for. And Rachel will have to be the person that actually submits the grant.
Okay,
And that has to be in by the 22nd. It's a very odd time for February 22nd, which happens to be a Saturday.
President's Day, no,
And
okay,
Lincolnsburg.
so, and then March 7th, we'll have to have myself and somebody else go to that meeting for the 09 fund
okay,
and present to them.
okay,
If we get the grant approved, then the paperwork starts. Right now, they just want to know what you're doing and whether we're gonna give it to you.
okay,
So,
okay,
all right,
okay.
so
Okay.
we're also now looking for a stage. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's been discussed. I know that they would like to do that, but it's, it's,
And it's
All
determined. too,
money
these are
dependent.
all Reimbursement grants, you have to be
Mhm.
aware, they're all
Yeah.
reimbursement grants. So the city has to have that money
mhm,
to be able to get reimbursed.
right,
And we can do, make an agreement with the, county that we do that in stages.
okay,
So, because we definitely don't want the loan portion of it,
right, right.
so.
Thank you. Anybody have any other questions or comments for Joe? No? Okay. Let's move on. The last thing on the new business is the Esther Border Walk in the Park project plan. So the last couple of years, yeah, it's gotten a little confused. So Cindy has been awesome to kind of put together a plan so that we kind of don't miss anything and that no one person maybe has to do all of it so that we can share the tasks. So, I don't, and this, I thought this was really, really good. The one thing I did see in here, which we kind of wondered about that I thought that we were missing is was more advertisement. Like beforehand, we've got advertisers in there, but like, who's gonna take charge of like doing the advertisement? Like making a poster and actually putting it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever they're gonna do there. So that was the one thing I thought we should do. The other thing that I didn't realize with the walk, somebody mentioned that before when you did it, they would have like stations when people were doing the walk, and every time you completed a loop or something, you got something. And I thought that was kind of neat. It was made the walk more of something, you know, and more, maybe more camaraderie and more community as people are going around.
It was beads, you collect different colored beads.
Oh,
And
okay,
so the stop was only one stop, and that was just outside the kitchen on the walking.
okay.
area. And you just helped yourself to,
Every time you went around, you got a bead?
Yep.
Okay, okay. So I guess that was one of the things that I heard comments about that they didn't do. So I thought, well, that was another thing. I put some event activities or prizes, or maybe a breakfast afterwards, after they're done, or hamburgers and hot dogs or something like that. I don't know. It's all up in the air. So the thing, what we have to come up with is the three of us. And Ruth, we're not gonna let her off the hook. We need to come up with a project plan, you know, and see who wants to take over some of these things.
Is there any specific formatting for the Facebook posts? Does it matter how it looks? Is there any things you have
It
to
does
follow?
matter how it looks.
Well, obviously approval and stuff, but like,
Yes.
when you do documents, you could be doing MLA format, you could be doing a different formatting thing. Is there a requirement for that?
Well, just whatever Facebook requires, which is a JPEG or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
I think the only thing that came out of last year's postmortem was that there is a traditional logo.
a logo. Mhm.
That's been used over the years and
Mhm.
that wasn't used last year.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
And I do have that. logo,
and we
so
want
I
to,
can
we
get
want
that.
to use that
Use that
logo.
one.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Is there any way we could have access to maybe some pictures of Esther Gordy when she was younger that we could include?
I have one. I have one of her portraits when she was probably in her 70s.
Okay.
Okay,
So.
and some of the family might have
Yeah.
more.
I guess-
Was Eric was talking to,
Might have Carolyn's, contact info.
I have Chris's for daughters.
okay,
Oh, great.
I think,
And then I have a bunch of ideas whenever you're ready.
okay. So, well, give us an idea of what some of these ideas are. I mean, are you talking a totally different plan?
No.
Firstly,
it's
is-
included in this. I do have some questions though. What is the, I know it's on here somewhere, but the cost of the vendor sign up? Have we landed on a,
Seems to me that last year it was $25,
okay,
It's been as high as 50, hasn't it?
wasn't it?
Has it been I think it's been as high as 50 in previous years.
Well, we never had been.
No, advertisers on.
Advertisers, so there's
Yeah,
two
yeah,
different
okay,
things.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we never had vendors before last
Yeah.
year. It was, and I'm not 100% sure how that's gonna work out this year either, to be very honest with you. Cause we had a couple problems with that. I also think that there might be a conflict, cause if we're doing the walk around, and I was thinking about, we don't have to do this, if we did like if, like last year, we had some snacks and water, and we used the kitchen for that. And if the vendors are gonna come in and take the kitchen space when we're still doing the thing, we might have some conflicts. Or if they're trying to come in and set up while we're walking and with their setting up their generators and stuff like that, that was an issue. So
The vendor that I'm thinking of,
Mhm.
does face painting
mhm,
for kids.
okay.
So she wouldn't need access to the kitchen
Well,
or.
but that's a whole bunch of different
Yeah.
vendors, but you can't make a decision
Yes.
based on that. And I know she couldn't come last year, so I don't know whether she'll be able to come, or some face painter did.
My neighbor.
But regardless, that is kind of a thing with the so anyway, we had vendors, which is a whole different thing than the sponsors.
Yeah.
The sponsors then, and I think they were quite a bit more, weren't they, the sponsor?
I thought it was 50.
It was 50,
Not for sure.
okay. So that is, so then there's
We need to be
sponsors,
careful too, if we're gonna serve a breakfast,
okay,
it doesn't interfere with their food sales.
The vendors are gonna try to do stuff.
true, true.
Coffee, chocolate.
Yeah.
Because we had a coffee vendor last year.
Right, right. So does anyone recall if, when we had the discussion with them afterwards last time, how much, what percentage do the vendors then give back to the city?
As I recall, Janine Washington was the one who set that up.
Uh-huh,
And she had them all pay $25 to be there.
uh-huh,
And that money just went to the park.
okay,
That went straight to us.
okay.
We didn't
And then
take-
they kept whatever they
Yeah,
made.
Yeah, we didn't take a percentage.
Got it. Okay, so that answers a couple of questions there for you.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Okay, so I was thinking, that would be really fun, if maybe we had, 11 classes from the school, each like get together to paint a rock with, Esther Bordy's and like the letters of her name and hide them around the park for the kids to go find. And if they find a rock, they bring it to us and we give them a prize. So we'd have 11 prizes.
Okay,
Why 11?
that's
So-
how many is in her name?
Yeah.
How many letters in
Oh,
her name?
okay.
It's a name thing.
And to get the kids involved in a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
That was one of them. I also thought maybe it'd be fun to have an educational booth on flora and fauna in the area since we're a park. To know the tree names of the trees or any of the brush or anything that we have that is in the park. Just for fun for the kids to learn some stuff. We could try a community art project with the only ingredients being what you can find in the park to see what you can build without using nails or anything. Like you could try to build benches or, just create an art piece together as a community for fun. You can add in, people can add in what like their little ideas and stuff are. When kids finish the race, maybe we could have little like bubble things to hand out to them. So like, oh, we won, now we can, because kids love bubbles.
Like a prize, some kind of prize.
Some kind of prize. They also like stickers and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. This one's kind of a reach because we need somebody who would know how to do this, but maybe in the future, we could have like a dog obstacle course there. Since we're walking, we're doing a race around there. We could have like a section where like the dogs can compete to see who's the fastest. And a lot of people like dogs in this area.
Great ideas, great ideas. All right, anybody comments?
No,
Yeah.
I think the timing, and again, I'm just going on the past, but it seems to me we started at like 10 and we're done by 11.
Mm-hmm.
That sound right?
Mhm.
And then we gave them, then they were starting to set up at 11 with their vendors.
Okay,
And then they opened their fire up and something else. Let's see, I have here, on my calendar, and I'll change this to whatever it needs to be.
So there was also some friction about noise
yes,
during the walk and the vendor setup.
yes.
General,
Well,
Mhm.
just and music.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So I guess the question I have to you as the board is, what feel do you want for the Esther Bordy portion of this?
Yeah,
It's always been looked upon as a memorial or, just a remembrance time, which in my mind is a very quiet,
mhm,
reflective thing. And, the children do come and do like to talk about, Esther memories.
yes, yeah,
So, I just want to throw that back out, and I'm trying to remember some of the postmortem things that came out of last year.
those are some of the comments and responses that I got also, was a lot of the noise and the. Yes, it distracted, a lot of that seemed to distract, a lot of people felt that it distracted from the celebration of Esther. And what she did for the parks and for the park here in Toledo, so, yeah, that is a question for us, yeah.
And then also in the past,
Mhm.
this has been geared towards a fundraising for,
Yes.
for the park.
Yes,
The
mm-hmm,
reality is that the money that actually is brought in by this
Mhm.
is so minuscule
mm-hmm,
that touting it as a fundraiser seems counterintuitive.
Right.
You might actually get more involvement if it wasn't touted as such, potentially. Other than the people that do want a commemorative T-shirt, they do pay for that.
so you saying we shouldn't have vendors? Do you
No,
think
no,
vendors
I'm just
distracts
saying-
from it or
I'm just
from
saying
us, for
it's
us?
about, this really is a fundraiser as opposed to just a day.
A day in the park. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah, there's two events, so one is the walk in the park.
right,
And then that's followed in the afternoon by the day in the park.
right,
Which is the vendors and the games and the.
Right.
Whoop-de-doo and everything.
Right.
whatnot.
right.
Yeah.
So that is it. That's, so exactly, we're hitting the nail on the head, you guys, exactly what Cindy says. Are we focusing on the walk in the park? Or a day in the park?
Yeah.
Basically is where we are,
My
right?
impression of last year is that the people involved with the vendor side of things wanted it separate.
Yeah,
And they really didn't want any part of
yeah,
and any of
yeah.
that.
So, yeah,
So it's entirely possible that we
Mhm.
could have these things happen on 2 different days.
well, we've already got our date set. And-
Do the walk
Mhm.
on this Saturday, the 6th, and then do the day in the park the next day.
They can do that. I guess then they could do that whenever they wanted, right?
So there were complaints about Sunday, church. is
Church,
Sunday.
mhm.
Right, right,
Mhm.
but that's up to them.
But to push, we don't have an endless supply of volunteers,
Right,
so, you know, and the date, every weekend has got something that people
Right.
are already committed to,
Right.
pretty much.
I definitely wouldn't commit the board to another day.
No.
I definitely wouldn't, I wouldn't commit myself.
Day in
Just
the park
honestly,
is their thing.
yeah, yeah,
Well, you're probably welcome to piggyback off of the day,
yeah,
as long as you have some parameters
mhm,
But,
that
yeah.
they're gonna work on.
right.
Yeah.
I would think if we started it at 10. And we actually start the walk at 10, we're committed to that. And, so we come earlier and we chat a little bit beforehand, have some coffee or whatever, have some water. We actually start at 10, we're done by 11. And then we can do something a little bit. And then the vendors, we just tell them they don't come in until noon. Or
Well,
1
that's
even.
And that's what happened last year,
Okay,
is they waited too long and everybody left. People did their walk, they're not waiting around for the vendors.
For the vendors to show.
up. And so the vendors didn't get the sales from the people.
Yeah,
Because we left as soon as we were done. walking.
Right.
Said, well, there's 6 vendors. You know?
right.
And also the coffee, maybe we can put them closer to a plug. Where they are not needing to use a generator, and that might solve the problem. So if they're on the end closest to the bathrooms, maybe they can hook up there,
Mm-hmm.
or they can be closer to the kitchen area.
Yeah, it was just,
Jack
wasn't it
Park.
Stephanie was the one that had the generator for the coffee
Mm-hmm.
thing. And, yeah, she could,
It
we
didn't
got
bother
her
me, but
closer to
I
the,
know it did bother other people.
yeah.
Only during the walk, I mean, after the
Right.
walk was
Yeah.
done,
Sure.
there wasn't any issue.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Well, then no noise or no generators till 11 or 12?
Yeah. So,
What do you guys think would be fair?
I would say it.
what's your-
We're done at 11.
like
then
11?
They can start up at 11.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So,
Is there anybody that gives a speech for Esther boarding before the walk?
That's what I'm saying. We need to start it. We need to show up a little bit ahead of time and we need to have some. We weren't prepared last year when I was there. We were not prepared. And because we didn't know. I admit it. We did not know. Stephanie is a vendor, has been a vendor, and she's dealing with the vendors. She didn't understand the Esther board part of it, nor did I. So So now I understand better and I understand the feelings of the community a little bit better, so we need to fix that. So,
One of the things that used to be a big hit was, they had raffle items. And it was just high bid and it was very easy, but they always had an Esther Gordy quilt.
Oh.
who made the quilt?
Esther.
Oh,
She would-
we can't get those anymore.
Fundraising portion, and it
Yes.
actually raised quite a bit of
Oh,
funds. So,
She
it's
didn't
on.
do it the last couple of years, but she also did dozens of them.
Mhm.
And I did actually get one.
Oh, my goodness,
Under the
wow.
Wicked. It
Wow.
was the, over the rainbow.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
It looks like the Wicked. So it's pretty fun.
okay.
Well, she, make some kind of improvement. Which, if you wanna direct it that way, not. So the stage becomes a community stage, and it's supported partly by the city.
Mhm. That's a good idea. And then we could have, even if it may not be an Esther quilt, but we could maybe get somebody to donate a quilt or get some raffle things from some people
Yeah.
around and do more fundraising.
You said we're doing shirts, they can buy shirts and then the proceeds go to the park.
The people, the participants, typically, if they wanted a shirt, yeah, they
They
pay.
can
You
do
pay
that.
like $20 and you get a shirt.
Do they have that for like those like Mexican blankets too? Cause a lot of people like to sit down in the park and you could sell the blankets for more cost and then use the extra to fundraise.
Mm.
A lot of people like to sit.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
This is a sit in the park.
No.
Well, if you're walking a bunch, you might want to rest.
They usually do
Yeah,
because they're eating.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to move forward, you guys, because we have another thing we need to get on and discuss. So how are you feeling about this? Are there things there that you guys, either of you want to take on that are willing to just take on right now, that's on this plan here? Or would you like to have a sit down?
Fine.
Just a quiet, a separate sit down to go through some of these and even,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
So.
Involved.
and have Ruth involved.
You could do the workshop.
Okay.
Rather than the public.
I do like the Facebook page I could make. I would just need the highlights of what's gonna be there so people know.
That's why, let's have, I'm gonna
Well, I'm
ask,
thinking about creating an actual page for.
Oh, no.
You guys have
It's gonna
one.
be hard to outreach. I would actually use the two community forums.
we have,
Okay.
yeah,
Cause I did see that there is a Facebook page for the Esther's Lordy Walk in the Park, because I kind of stalked it a little bit.
I don't know who maintains that.
I don't,
I
yeah,
have no
Isn't
idea.
it,
there is a,
Renee Broadway?
She's doing Facebook for Vision Toledo, yeah.
No, it wouldn't
Cause
be.
there's a
No.
page and they wrote on it last year too.
no.
The page, the Esther Lordy Walk in the Park, they wrote on it last year.
Hedges. I'll.
He did mention it a couple times, yeah, he sent me a couple things too, like it, yeah, he is. Yeah, okay, so,
For advertisement though, we do need to put a banner up on the edge of town. you
Yep.
know, where it says
Yep.
advertise it is.
yeah, now that we have decided that it's gonna be the second weekend or whatever week it is every year,
Saturday.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Then we can just make a banner that we can use every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to request that we're gonna have a workshop at 5 o'clock before our next meeting. Can you all do that? Ruth, I hope.
I'll make sure that
Okay.
unless something goes wrong.
Otherwise, we will assign her duties. She will have no choice.
I think also that for this meeting, we should probably invite Janine Washington to come. So that we have a meeting of the mind, see what is happening then.
I'd like to have a discussion with our board first, privately.
Sure.
Mhm, please, and then absolutely when we are all on the same page of what we want to do, because I think at this point to bring in somebody else, I think we need to figure out exactly what our focus is going to be, what we're willing to do and what we're not. And then we can invite other people in, but as long as we have our starting place and where we're going to end.
Good for more. So when is the walk in the park? What is that? What date is that? So I hope it was 6th of June.
That's good. So we'll-
It's moving in that.
That's good. Well, we're gonna get a better plan going. And I thank you, Cindy, very much for getting this out to us
Yes.
early in the year. So we're not waiting till the end. I appreciate that. So we have time to work on it, but let's get going on it. So if you all before the next meeting or before that workshop, come in here with some ideas and actually real specific ideas of, for promotion, for advertising, some of these different things and where they should be done. Okay, anybody else, any questions, comments? We can leave that for now. Okay. The next thing I'm going to go on is unfinished business, and that's the park comp plan status. As y'all know, we've been working on that for a fairly long time. But we're making good progress on it. Cindy and I have been working together on it. Was able to meet, Cindy did a great job with reformatting and made just some wonderful suggestions on how to clean it up and things that we needed. Thank you very much. I went out, I got to meet with John and walked the property, our property along the river and the little pocket park there that we want to do. So it was really nice to talk to John about kind of his thoughts about the parks and kind of what, and his enthusiasm for it, and the things, he's got some great ideas and he really, wants to see the parks do well. So it was great for me to sit and talk to him. I really enjoyed meeting with him. And I got to it was an awesome walk along the river. You guys have all taken that walk, I know. Well, we need to take a walk, Joe.
Anything about, I didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
Park coming that we were doing.
We're not doing anything yet.
Oh, pocket park.
Well, we call it's a piece of property that the city bought a number of years ago with the idea of putting in a pocket park. It actually has some access to the river. It's got a beautiful triangle area in the middle that would make a nice little dog park. I'm just saying. Anyway, there's potentials out there, so I will. So anyway, I did that. We're almost to the end. I'm working on the final chapter 6, where we're actually taking funding opportunities or potential funding mechanisms. I'm looking at that. I'm, just researching with other cities, what they have in their comp plans and stuff, and kind of using those as guides. And then we've been talking, the last thing that we need to do on it is the chapter on our needs assessment. And that has to do with the impact fees primarily that we're going to ask for with these new developments. So that some of those fees can help support the parks. That's where we are on it. Anything else you want to add or any questions? Cindy, you've been working with me.
Yeah, you have a ton of edits that I haven't gotten to yet.
Okay.
But will.
Yeah. So we're getting there. And we hope to have it done very shortly. So at this point, you guys, I still have to give you access. Mike, though, you have access to what we currently have in there. So take a look at it and see if you have any suggestions. Anything else on that one? No, I don't think there was anything else I was going to share with you guys. Okay, okay. On to other business. Any other business?
Two things.
Okay,
One is, the cleanup, town cleanup.
here you
It's
go.
On our schedule or.
Town cleanup. You were wanting to clean up things.
Exactly.
Gonna go June the 7th,
Okay,
first Saturday of June.
Okay.
And,
Graduation.
as we try to do is to get the city. To come up with a list of the public works, a list of stuff they have done, and we get a bunch of volunteers and say, okay, we need. These curbs painted, or we need the weed eating to be done, or power washing, or. You know, that kind of stuff that takes them a lot of time, but if we get. A couple dozen people there, we can knock it out in
Mhm.
2-3 hours and then we have in the past followed it up with a barbecue or something from the Lions Club, or maybe something from Vision Toledo, or something to just as a reward for the volunteers. So
okay,
that's something.
Good.
We'll be looking at, and it's contingent, a lot of it's contingent upon the cities. telling us
What their needs are.
What do you need?
Okay.
Yeah.
but John's pretty good about giving you a list of
Yeah,
things.
do it next year.
Oh, is that why we
The
ended?
Community people make up the list.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That
But he's gonna see more things.
might not get a
so we
lot of
get-
volunteers
The
on
Yeah.
it.
community can't make up a list, but we wanna know what does the city need?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that day is the Toledo High School graduation day,
so-
so might not have as many volunteers that day.
well, it's supposed to be nice before they come.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Maybe
that's the whole point, is to have it before the kids graduate, sometime in April. And we're already committed to April. That would be the 28th, I think. Let me see here. Well, what about May? Sometime in May?
You do it in May, the weekend before, and have a calendar.
is that Memorial Weekend
I
or?
think it is.
Yeah, I think that is.
Weekend, yeah.
Okay,
The school must have moved things, because we've always done this on a Saturday. And it was not a conflict, so I don't know what
okay.
the deal is here, but okay, news to me. I'll have to check that out.
You'll check that one, Mike? Okay,
Well,
Thanks.
Hold on, May 31st is not a holiday.
okay.
Yeah, but-
Usually those holidays are on Mondays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's the week before.
No,
Memorial Day is the
May
26th.
May 31st.
May 31st, maybe.
Yeah, that one sounds good.
That works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But same story, we need input from the city. So.
okay,
I have it on an action item list for Rachel and company.
okay. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. What else you got
And
for us?
number 2.
Yeah.
Is Steamboat Alley.
Yes.
I have this note from Brian Dennis.
Oh, good.
He says somebody named Heidi Harder. And the idea of that is starting to organize a project where kids can paint rocks and add them to a structure as the project goes along. Some other towns have done this while they were building a Caterpillar. Another town did one that looks like a butterfly. Who knows what Toledo will look like? Anyways, I know that Jamie Cummings has stepped away from projects like that, but he's wondering if there's anybody who is now the point person for Steamboat Alley projects. And I told him, well, Steamboat Alley right now is not in disarray, but it's
Mm-hmm,
disassembled all the crates and stuff, which were totally falling apart anyhow.
right.
And we moved the mini library and the mini art gallery out of there. That's over at my place next door. Because Bill Brooks, who now bought the building,
Yeah.
are gonna put some kind of a sealer on all that brick.
Right.
And until they get that done, which would probably be until the weather got warm enough, they can't do it.
Okay.
But as far as somebody in charge of it, basically it's the city. It's a-
Right.
It's a
Right.
pocket park thing,
Right.
so.
But I think they should run it by the board, because I don't know who allowed that heating thing put in there. And
Heat duct.
they said that
Mhm.
it came from the city, they got permission from the city.
Yeah.
The problem is, where the sides come out, it sticks out into the alley, which is already narrow.
Mhm.
And it is literally head level with a kid,
Yeah,
small kid, or kid in a pram or a stroller.
right.
It was not, I don't think it was very well thought out.
Yeah, I
You know.
called Heather Nelson, who is the daughter of the guy.
Yeah.
in the building. At the time, I said, what's with this? This thing looks terrible.
It does.
And at the time I was renting. That might have been why she, then I'm gonna just sell it, get out, because she was not happy with me.
So you bring up a good point. As far as like a point person for Steamboat, we don't have one.
It's parked, so it goes through.
But
the
it's
park.
parked, so if she has something where she wants to use the city park, she needs to bring a plan to the park board. Okay, first of all, and then, but also along with that, this is something I think we should get on the agenda maybe next month. Let's talk about is because is Steamboat Alley and let's start thinking about how we're gonna rebuild it.
Mhm.
And also included with that, we have the planters that were along the front that got moved. And I noticed last I saw, I think they were along the side of the building here. And there's a couple of them. Anyway, the planters could be redone and need to be replaced. So we'll need to work.
Planter boxes actually were so broken down that they've been.
No,
tossed.
the metal ones. I'm thinking of the metal ones that were on the main drag. And they got moved when they were redoing everything. And then there's a couple of them that some of them just haven't been kept up. So now Brian Dennis, I think Di and Brian Dennis have worked together on those planters, right?
Yeah, and me.
Yeah, so we'll need somebody, I think, to work with Brian Dennis to figure out or maybe you wanna kind of head up what we're gonna do with Steamboat Alley and the planters.
Well, one of the things we'll do is put back the interpretive panel that
Mhm.
is in my garage right now, safekeeping.
Mhm. And, and put the library and stuff back, but building new boxes, new crates, or however we wanna
Yeah,
reconfigure
They
that.
wanna change it.
And then,
The original idea was to make that look like a loading.
Yeah,
dock or
it's
something.
great. yeah,
Pallets and stuff, but
okay,
it was fine, but after 20 years, that fall.
yeah,
And originally inserted into that, there's squares that are open on that metal
Yeah.
framework. And that was originally going to have things in there.
pictures or something,
Yeah, but we do have several old advertisements. And we could do them in that same format as which ones I'm talking about. It's $25 to ride, steamboat so and so,
Okay.
and you pick it up at the dock and the times. And there's 4 of them, so if we made them pretty big, it would, or to fit in those, which are pretty big. We
No.
could,
You're talking about this metal framework. thing,
Yeah.
Right? I don't have that. I think,
no, you don't have to take it out, it's already set in there.
where is it?
The gate.
Oh,
The gate.
the
right
gate.
in
Oh,
The
oh,
gate.
the gate
There's-
itself.
there's-
Oh, okay.
there's openings in the
Okay.
gate to put
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, open panels, where there was supposed to be something.
Yeah.
And it did not happen. Yeah, we were waiting for the fan and at one issue after the other, but
Okay,
it fell through, so.
okay,
Between you and me, we could get those, but we'll have to get money from the park board to, we don't have to design them or anything.
No, we just reproduce them.
And then have them taken down to, Olympia and have them printed, same
Yeah.
people
Okay.
did them before, and they're
Okay.
very reasonable, at least they always have been before.
okay.
And
Well, let's put this on let's come prepared next time then with some discussion on how we can fix Steamboat and what we want to do for the planters.
Right, and because it's narrow, we need to be very cautious about
Mhm.
how much stuff we put in.
Yeah, yeah,
That's part of the problem with making it look.
Yeah.
healthy.
yeah. Okay.
And then I had a question.
Okay.
When do we discuss, what month do we end up talking about the all-year reunion that happens at the park in the summer during Tuesdays?
That's
Not us.
not,
That's not us.
Not
something
us?
for your board.
Mm-mm,
What
mm-mm,
is it?
The all-year reunion.
mm-mm.
No.
That's not
It's
us.
not us.
No.
I just wondered because it was our
Cheesecake. The
Tuesdays.
In the park.
Oh.
Yeah.
Reunion,
Oh.
all the
class reunion.
the class reunions, yeah,
The dinner, and I.
yeah. That, I think I would check with the Cheese Days Committee.
Tuesdays.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they should be doing all that, right? Or at least know who to talk to, yeah.
I'm the secretary of that, so.
Oh, there you go.
Our next meeting will be, let's see, it's the first Tuesday of next month, whatever that is.
March, is it?
Yeah, of each month. Yeah.
And do we have,
Probably around.
Oh,
the
sorry.
4th, Maybe.
Nope, it's the 11th.
Maybe,
Right?
no, because this month has, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Saturday is the first. And
The fourth is the first two. Oh, you said first Tuesday?
First
Oh,
Tuesday?
first the
Tuesday,
fourth.
I'm sorry. I thought you said
Fourth.
second Tuesday.
Fourth.
Yeah.
Well, I accept your apology.
is that here?
I don't know where they meet.
Okay.
Oh, maybe
Okay.
up at my place at the art center on that route.
Morgan Arts Center?
Yeah.
That's you?
Yeah,
Cool, okay.
my last name.
Well, you never know where people are connected.
Okay.
He's connected to Fruit Fair. Our sign. Entrance.
Any other business that we need to address? Anything else? No? Okay, then I think I'm gonna call for a motion for an adjournment. Yeah,
A motion for an adjournment.
do I hear a second?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Unanimous.